Hello! Today's recipe is from the USA, and specifically from the city of Philadelphia, which is located in the state of Pennsylvania. Italian-American cuisine is the cuisine of Italian-American immigrants and their descendants who have modified Italian cuisine under the influence of American culture. Italian-American food is based heavily, though not exclusively, on the traditional food of Southern Italian immigrants, most of whom arrived in the United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. During this great wave of immigration into the United States, many Italians came from the areas of Naples and Sicily. South Philadelphia, South Philly as it's called there, has always had and still has great restaurants. Although it's now closed, a great long-time area restaurant serving home-style Italian-American food was Sam's Cobblestone restaurant. I'm going to show you my version of Sam's Chicken Sicilian, which I call Chicken Paesano. I love this dish, so I make a lot of it at one time, but you can easily cut the recipe in half. To make this dish, you will need 4 pounds of chicken thighs and tenders, 1 stick of butter, about 8 tablespoons, 1 16-ounce bottle of white cooking wine, and the cheap supermarket kind is the best for this dish, 1 12-ounce jar of sliced cherry peppers in brine, drained, 1 10-ounce jar of pitted Greek Kalamata olives, or any olives, in brine, also drained, 1 3.5-ounce jar of nonpareil capers in brine, and you will be using the brine, 1 cup of chicken stock, and then finally 1/4 cup of cornstarch and 1/4 cup of Marsala cooking wine. Again, the cheap supermarket brand is great for this recipe. I usually use a combination of skinless, boneless thighs and chicken tenders, but you can use any cuts of chicken that you like. I also make this in my electric skillet because it's the perfect size. It's also an easy one-pan cook and clean up for a great weeknight dinner in about 30 minutes. You can easily make this in a sauté or deep fry pan as well. Heat your electric skillet to high and then unwrap the stick of butter and use it to lightly grease the bottom of the pan. Then set the butter aside. This skillet has a non-stick surface already, so all I'm doing is adding a little butter to help brown and sear the chicken pieces. I make my own salt, pepper, and garlic powder seasoning mix that I use for everything, and I like to sprinkle it on the bottom of the skillet so that when I put my chicken pieces in, they will be seasoned on one side. I then just add my chicken pieces to the skillet. Once all my chicken pieces are in the pan, I season the top with my seasoning mix of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Let the chicken pieces cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. After 2 to 3 minutes, turn all the pieces over. The chicken will just be seared and not very cooked, but that's how it should be at this point. Your chicken pieces will be seared and have some light browning. Now let them cook for another 2 to 3 minutes on this side. Now I remove all the chicken pieces to a bowl, and you can see that the chicken is still very raw. But don't worry, by the time we're finished, it will be cooked through. Now I just set the bowl of chicken pieces aside while I make the braising liquid. I add the stick of butter to my skillet, which is still set to high heat. I then add the jar of capers along with all of its brine. I then add the entire bottle of white cooking wine. Keep the skillet on high and let the white wine, caper, and butter mixture come to a boil, and let it boil until the stick of butter is almost completely melted. When you see the green and white fast forward icon, it means that I sped up the video so you can see a process faster to save time. It only takes 2 to 3 minutes for the wine to come to a boil and for the butter to melt completely. Once the butter has melted and the white wine, caper, and butter mixture is boiling, add the chicken pieces back into the skillet. Add any accumulated juices in the bowl to the pan as well. Now add your drained jar of olives right over top. I'm using pitted Greek Kalamata olives, but you can use any olives you like. Now add the jar of drained sliced cherry peppers. If you'd like it spicier, you can add some of the spicy brine to your taste. I generally get the same brand of sliced cherry peppers. However, the spiciness does vary from jar to jar. Now add about 1 cup of chicken stock, and using low fat and low sodium is fine. It won't affect the taste. Now just cover the pan and bring your mixture to a boil. Once covered and the mixture comes to a boil, turn your skillet down to low and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. After about 20 minutes, the chicken should be done. Uncover and turn your skillet back on to high. Cooking times can vary, so make sure that you check to see that your chicken is cooked through and no longer pink. At this point, we're going to take out all the chicken pieces so that we can thicken our sauce. Set the chicken pieces aside and let the liquid come up to a boil. While the liquid comes up to a boil, I'm going to make a slurry, which is basically a mixture of cornstarch and a liquid. In this case, it's 1/4 cup of cornstarch to 1/4 cup of Marsala cooking wine. Mix it together until it's smooth and there are no lumps. I use a wooden spoon to make sure the cornstarch Marsala wine slurry is smooth and lump-free, and then I add it all at once to the hot liquid. You want to thicken the liquid quickly because as soon as the cornstarch slurry hits the hot liquid, it will start to thicken. I use the wooden spoon to stir together the cornstarch slurry into the hot liquid. I stir the mixture constantly to avoid having a lumpy sauce. Once your sauce is smooth and has thickened, put your pieces of chicken back into the thickened sauce. Just like before, add any accumulated juices from the bowl into the skillet. At this point, turn your skillet back down to low and let the pieces simmer in the sauce for a few minutes. I like to take the sauce and spoon it over all the pieces so that they're covered. Chicken Paesano is my variation of Sam's Cobblestone restaurant's Chicken Sicilian. Many recipes for Chicken Sicilian also add mushrooms and tomatoes, but I prefer it without. It's an easy recipe to modify to your taste. And there you have it, Chicken Paesano, an easy one-skillet dish of chicken in a white wine and caper butter sauce with olives and mildly spicy cherry peppers. This is one of my go-to weeknight meals that I can have on the table in about 30 minutes using ingredients that I always have in my pantry. I usually serve it over rice or pasta. Chicken Paesano, a savory, spicy taste of Philadelphia's Little Italy. So this is my recipe for Chicken Paesano. It's a variation on the Chicken Sicilian made by Sam Maloney of Sam's Cobblestone in South Philadelphia. It's a great weeknight dish. I hope you try it and I hope you enjoy it.